All right, welcome on Forest City Y. Got AJ Welch here today to talk to you about worms, how they are beneficial to our ecosystem, but also how you can use them in your garden as you get ready. Spring is very clearly here, and it feels like it has been for at least half a month, which is good. I like it. Use a little more rain, but other than that, I like the warm weather. So, with no further ado,
Thank you.
AJ.
All right, first of all, I'd like to take time out to say thank you to the Y for this opportunity, and thank you for attending this. I make YouTube videos. My first video was released in 2014. I was on it, but never really got into it. And then my kids were like, you can make money making videos with something you enjoy doing. And I started being active. I try to make videos once a week, but things are going to change with my job, so it's going to slow down again. Sorry. All right. So, thing about me, I've been raising worms for about, the math, 2014, 20, so 24 now. So I started out with 2,000 red wiggler worms. My wife did not want them in the house, so I had them outside, and you know the winters in Iowa are always mild. So I lost 2,000 worms. It froze to death. And the thing about worms, if they get ready to die, they will lay eggs to try to have their population to increase for the next season. So cocoons were laid, but worms died. So the next year I bought some more worms, and snuck them in the house. Don't tell my wife. But she was scared that they were gonna, get out of the bin, crawl upstairs and get in the bed and cuddle. But worms just die, they dry out, and I call them worm jerky. Bad choices, bad consequences. But if you take care of your worm bins, they'll run just great, and you won't have to worry about your worms getting out. This is my mini 2.5 gallon worm system. I was given this from a partner that I affiliate with, and there is about, let's say probably 200 worms in here. We kind of talked, he's gonna try to modify the lid because there's things that he wants to make better. So that's a good partner when he listens to things and tries to improve. But this one's new, so you can barely, there's newspaper and there's cardboard in there, but there's not a lot of worms in there. But here's just one, and that's my red wiggler.
Is that all the bigger they get?
The European night crawlers are the big ones. You can use those for fishing. These are strictly for just composting your food scraps.
Oh.
The thing that I like about these, you get about 2,000 red wigglers. Within about a week or two, they'll be able to eat 3 or 4 pounds of your food scraps every week. So.
Write that name down. Red wiggler.
Yeah, and then after they start eating your food scraps, we call it black gold, which is organic fertilizer, and that's what it turns out to be.
Yeah.
And you apply it to your gardens. The European night crawlers, they're a great worm. If you're into fishing, get European night crawlers. They're able to eat food, cardboard, and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's what makes them a great worm. If you're debating if worms can be in the same bin, I don't know why I'm so nervous, but if they're in the same bin, you can mix them. I have 5 bins. I have 2 with European night crawlers that I can receive from different customers or different vendors. Then I have a box, one with red wigglers. There's about 5,000 in that one, and that's a bigger container. And then one with mixed worms with red wigglers, European night crawlers, and Indian blue worms. But worms don't interact with other species, so you don't have to worry about that. all worms are not the same. Earthworms are the ones that are in your garden. If you have those in there, that's a sign of healthy soil, because they aerate, they burrow deep, and that's the benefits of them. I would not buy these and put them in my garden, because for me, I think that's a waste of your money. I would rather have them in my house to devour the food scraps, and then you could put the food scraps in or the worm castings in your garden. And if there's eggs in there, then the eggs could, help your population that way. So,
Yeah. Huh.
because no matter how often you sift this to get the fine particles out, you're always gonna have cocoons in there. So that's the benefit of those. Great worms. If you're gonna go that way, if you're single and small family of 1 or 2, I'd say get about 2,000. This is a kit that was given to me, but I have Rubbermaid totes. You can just go basic and use Rubbermaid totes. If you go on YouTube, my channel's AJ's Green Topics, and I have a lot of videos on there. So I won't tell you my name, but that's my little market. Yeah, but I have over 800 videos. When I first started out, I didn't know what to start off doing, so I got like washing machine videos and everything. But then I just strictly went down to worms. And the thing I like about this too is I built relationships with other YouTubers, and that's how I became partners. And my job is to help educate you and direct you to their business so you can invest in them and they can invest back into the community. So it's a cycle of life. I connect with gardeners because with these worm castings and worms, my goal is to help you not have to go buy from the store, because you're talking about like compost that what do you call it, arid? Usually like with that, like I said, if you get like your compost and put the coffee grounds in there, that will speed it up, because coffee grounds have a lot of nitrogen, so that will speed up the process of your compost. So not trying to go against companies, but if I can help you save money, that's my job. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you, and I'll try to find out, but if not, I'll try to lead you in the right direction. So, but another thing about these worm castings, you can apply them damp, but the best thing to do if you're gonna have time is to put them on cardboard, and then we sift them out. There's different type of sifters. So first, this is the one I sift, and this is for me, but if I was selling worm castings, I would go finer, because you could stretch your castings out further. But for you, what I would like you to do, if you're interested, I will have you put your name on a list and give it to Jody, and I will give you some castings to try to your garden, just for you attending this. Another thing that I like about these is this system here, this kit or any kit. Once you get your worm castings out, you're able to make a compost tea or worm castings tea. And what you do is, this would be empty, you'd fill it up with water. You would use pantyhose or something, put a cup of castings in here, tie it up, then use an air pump, a fish pump, put it in here, put in a tablespoon of molasses, and let it brew for 24 hours, and then put it in a spray bottle and apply it to your plants. The research I have studied is it helps deter like certain pests to getting to your plants because of all the healthy microbes and the benefits of worm castings. What I'd like people to do is try it, then get back with me and tell me your results. So that's what I noticed with this. I have not made the worm tea because they say you're supposed to use it within 24 hours. But this year I'm gonna use it within 24 hours once the weather gets nice and my seedlings start to grow. And then you apply this at least twice a month. Not all the time because too much is not good, but try it out for yourself and let me know your thoughts. So if you have any questions for me, just shoot them out to me. So
AJ, where do you put the pantyhose on that?
the pantyhose, you
You fill it up?
yeah, you fill it up, fill it up with water,
Okay.
put your castings in here, and then tie it up and just put it in.
You just put it in
Yeah,
the
just drop it in
molasses.
like a tea bag.
Right, and then you put the molasses, it's just in the water?
Yep, put the molasses in, stir it up a little bit,
Oh, okay.
and then brew it for 24 hours and use it fresh. Once you invest in worms, you will never have to buy worm castings again. You'll have your own worm tea. And if you want to make money on the side or go big time, you have all the resources you need. And worms in a perfect environment, they multiply every three months. But it depends on the size of your bin. They will not overexceed the population. They will stop breeding. So people, they split the bin. But I say if you get worms, don't even split your bin for about a year. Because when I first started out, I was like everyone else. Oh, I gotta get more worms now. Just let the worms do their thing and take it, let time take its course and you'll be just good to go. My family, they didn't like me talking about worms, but if you're passionate about something and then you research and you like something, now they're supportive of me. My boys are like, my dad does YouTube videos now, and I'm like, thanks for that. So I'm not gonna lie, when I first started out, I was kind of embarrassed because what are people gonna think of me, And then I'm making little, money on the side, and now I'm like, what do people think of me? But like I said, worms are awesome. If you're scared of worms, I have two females that I did interviews with, and they were scared of worms because they thought they were gonna bite them. Worms don't have teeth, so you'll be just fine. And then after a while, they just changed their mindset. Now they're in the bins, they do videos and playing with worms, and they have names for all 8,000 of them. But I won't do that. And I have other friends that, if they have like 2,000 worms starting out, probably like 8 months later, they'll start counting worms one by one. But I'm not gonna do that either. I'll just go by the weight and that'll try to give me a rough estimate of how many worms are in there. But yeah, like I said, worms are great. You get worms, they eat your food scraps. They're able to produce the worm castings. You can make worm tea, or you could, apply the castings directly to your garden. So
AJ, where do you get your red wigglers?
I bought my worms, when I first started out, I got them from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. And now I have a great friend, her name is Mimi's Worms. And that's who I partner with a lot.
Online?
Yep, online. If you go on my videos, I have links on the bottom. So
Oh, okay.
if you buy through her, that helps me out. So it's like, and then if I get like an investment, I always invest back into the community. So, seeds, and growth. So that's the person I would recommend. I don't know why. I'm usually not like, but anyway, but I would recommend Mimi's Worm Farm. There are plenty of other great people out there, but we just built a relationship. If I'm the type of person, if you call me and we just keep talking, I'm gonna invest more time into you, and then instead of someone that just pops up once a year, you know what I mean? So that's why I partner with Mimi's Worm Farm. So,
AJ, I have a question.
Yep.
Now, your green bucket has air holes. Does it need ventilation in there? Does it need
Air?
Yes, worms do need air.
Okay.
If, like I have Rubbermaid totes, and a lot of people, they drill holes in the top and the bottom, or they'll drill holes in the top bin. No. Yeah, they'll drill holes in the top and then they'll won't have holes in the bottom. But I don't do that anymore because I just use one tote and I don't put a lot of food in there. Because like with watermelon and things like that, those type of fruits, you want to put a lot more paper in there to absorb the moisture. And whenever you feed your worms, always put paper and your food scraps for carbon and nitrogen. But you need air holes. In my totes, there's a lot of holes on the top. Some people don't have the lids on at all. But with a cat, I don't do that. I don't trust them. I don't want. But anyway, yeah, always drill air holes. A lot of air holes on the top. On this one, they're on the side, but on the top, you're just fine. They won't get out. If they're happy, they'll stay in there. But they're called Indian blue worms, and they're more of a different temperament. If the weather changes from spring to winter, they kind of crawl out because they don't tolerate the temperature as well. But all you do is you open your tote, your lid, and just push them back in. So,
Great.
yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
well, how long does it take, like, if you put in a bunch of worms, how many worms would go in a container that size?
Okay, for this container here, they recommend 250 worms.
Okay.
Because the reason he made this kit, and he also said he almost was shown on Shark Tank with this, but at the last minute he told me that something else came up, and I was like, oh, that's cool to hear from a person like that. But 250.
Okay.
If you had this one, like a 5-gallon one,
Uh-huh.
they're kind of the same. People can make it the way they want. You could go 500, and then a tote, standard tote,
Like the 18.
yeah,
Yeah.
2,000. So
So then you put in like half paper and half food scraps?
yep, you would start off like how it works. I always say to get your worm bin started before you get the worms. Get get it set up. Put your moist paper in there. Very little food, and they say like just a little handful of dirt, just to get like the microbes and stuff activated in there. Wait about a week, and then put your worms in there. And then once you put your worms in there, don't even bother them for about a week, because they got to get used to their environment. And then after a week, take a look. If the food's still in there, don't feed them. Because a lot of problems we run into is people, I got 20 pounds of food, I'm going to put it in there for 2,000 worms, and it doesn't work that way. So always go less food, more paper. If you're going to go on vacation, and the best thing to do is always freeze and thaw your food, because that allows the cell walls are softer, and it breaks down. The worms can get the microbes a lot faster. So, but if you're going to go on vacation, put a lot of paper in there, cardboard, and speaking of cardboard, it's the corrugated cardboard. Take the tape off and all that stuff. But now I'm trying cereal boxes, and because I have friends that have cereal boxes, and I'm starting to put that in there just to see. But yeah, always go that route with your worms. And if you put an apple in there, it'll take a long time for them to eat. So you can go away for like a week or two, and you don't have to worry about your worms. And always bury your food scraps underneath the bedding, because fruit flies can get in there and other critters. And but if you cover it up, the fruit flies will try to come around, then they'll leave the environment.
With the food scraps, do you ever get an odor from them decaying?
Like an odor from the decay. In a perfect environment, like with this one here, there's no meat or dairy in this one. If you want to smell it, you can smell it and just let me know your thoughts, because I'd like you to share with someone else what it smells like to you.
It smells like the great outdoors.
Yeah, it smells earthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll trust her.
Okay. But it smells earthy, like it says it.
Smells like ground.
Yeah. But if you put like too much food in there and you don't cover it up, it gets aerobic or anaerobic. That's kind of like your garbage. The reason it stinks is because there's no paper and stuff to get in there in the air to prevent it from stinking. So that's why garbage smells. But once you start composting with worms, you'll have less garbage and you'll start looking at everything. Oh, that bag can be used as a worm bin. And it's addictive because once you start, it's like a game. You're trying to figure out ways to save the earth, you know. So that's my goal, is to just educate people and
Keep things out of the landfill.
yep, and that's the thing. Yep. Always try to reduce your cycle. Yes, ma'am.
So, do they need an even temperature environment? So, like you said, you had them outside and that,
Yeah.
of course, they froze, but
Yeah.
can you take it outside at all during the summer?
Yep, spring, summer, and fall, you can take them outside. Temperature ranges between 40 and 85. You know, it's comfortable. 40, they'll move slower, but they'll still be active. 80s, they'll be really active and they'll eat a lot of food scrap. We'll put them in shade, but the thing about that is also, and have holes in your bins and stuff. But like if you have it in a trash can, you're gonna have all type of other things in your worm bin, like spiders or ticks, whatever is going in there. So that's one thing to look into. Because I had a trash can outside that I used, and if you're gonna do that, make sure you probably rinse your worms off to make sure nothing's on there. But this is a huge debate when it comes to worms. I don't put leaves in my worm bin, and the reason I don't, because mites, all those other little critters, snails, you don't know what's in those leaves. But I have other people on YouTube that they say they bake theirs in their oven, their leaves. I'm just saying, everyone's different.
To kill the bugs.
To kill the bugs.
Yeah,
But I don't do that, you know, so to each their own.
just don't.
Yeah,
just
I know,
don't forget
I know.
to eat it.
I'm just basic.
Don't eat it.
That's just how I operate. My way is not always the best way to do things, but I don't put that in there because I don't go that route.
Your
And
wife
also,
will let you.
and also, worms need grit because they have a gizzard. So what you can do for grit is if you use eggs, if you eat eggs, just dry them out, nuke them for about a minute to kill the salmonella, whatever's on it. And then I have a Magic Mini blender that I ground them up and apply some of those into your worm bins for the grit and calcium. But wear a mask because that dust, you don't want to get that in your lungs. So, yeah, any other questions for me?
So, how long did it take to get from the green bucket to your bigger one?
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
Okay.
It's like, how did
Okay.
that happen?
Okay. This green bucket I restarted. I was going to put it out of commission because I converted worms into other bins, but I start this one. Okay. This one has been running for about a month, and from what you can see is you can see more castings in there. So within a month, you'll start seeing different changes. If there's more worms in there, you'll see it a lot sooner. So it depends on the worms. But this one here, I would harvest my castings, I'd say within 6 months. 3 to 6 months with this to start over. Keep the worms in there, but the bedding, and like I said, you'll get more worms. How you can, if I haven't told you how you sift them, you can do like a light method. You can put a light on at the start or something, and the worms keep going down, and you keep taking a layer off. Then eventually you have a layer of worms on the bottom. Or you can bait them. You can put like a coffee cup, put holes in it, and the worms will come to where the food is. Just feed this side of the bin, and all the worms will migrate over. So that's another way that you can do your worms easier. Or some people just don't do it. They just take the worms and the castings and put them in the
So
cart.
what's in the yellow bucket is on the top. You just take that off the top.
Oh, it's on the bottom. It's,
On the bottom.
yeah, they call it worm poop. That's the real name of the worm castings. But from the weight of the paper, it'll start going down to the bottom. And the worms, they like 3 to 4 inches of surface decaying matter. So yeah, with the weight, they'll go to the bottom. So,
So the worms stay at the bottom with their.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't stink, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Some people wear gloves, some people don't wear gloves, but I started wearing gloves because it gets under your fingernails and just stuff like that. But if you look at my videos, you'll see in my bins, you'll see all the castings all the way to the top because basically there's no other paper. So if you go a bin with the tote, if you want to get the worms to migrate over, push the castings to one side, fresh bedding on this side, and just feed the new side with the food. Like I said, the worms will go there.
Take this castings out.
Yeah.
And then
And another thing I forgot to tell you, there was a video where someone did not have holes in their bin, and they call it a mass exodus. When he took that lid off, all the worms are trying to get out of the bin.
sure,
They need air. They're like us. They need air, food, comfort, and love. You know,
Not when they need love.
one of the easiest pests to take care of. I told my wife once our cat moves on, I'm gonna get just worms. So yeah, do you have any other questions? Shoot them out to me, like says.
What is your, what would be the cost of 250 worms?
It depends. On average, you know, with inflation, I'd say probably $25, $30. Okay. If you're just going to compost, I would encourage you just to get mixed worms.
Worms?
Yeah, it's got European night crawlers, red wigglers, and maybe blue worms. And you have a variety
Okay.
and different castings too. So you have a variety of different castings, and I think that's the best one to go. If you're just wanting to compost, go with the red wigglers. But if you're into fishing, like it says, go into
Some mixed ones.
the European night crawlers. But I would recommend people to do the mixed worms because that's my best bin because you got a variety of things, and that's just what I just like. I'm focused on the community, so that's why, and I call that my diversity and inclusion worm bin. So yeah.
So can you ever take those worms, like I have a compost pile
Mhm.
outside
Yep.
in the summer? Can
Okay.
you ever put worms in there and let them do their thing in there?
No, you see those ones outside are earthworms. You know, they're different. You wouldn't want them because they need like so much soil or earth to dig in, and that's how they work. But if you want to try it out and put them in a bin, you won't be successful compared. I'm sorry.
I don't mean that, just speed up my pile.
Oh yeah.
By
If you,
putting
oh
some
yeah.
worms in it for the summer and like saying goodbye to them.
Oh yes, ma'am. Yeah. If
They
you
would
want
live out there all winter.
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
put some red wigglers or Europeans, yeah, you can do it that way. And
Yeah.
And if they're happy, every year they'll be there. They'll keep staying in there. But if the bin's not warm during the winter, they'll go dormant, but they have a better chance to survive in a huge compost pile, whatever you got going, because there's more surface area and more heat. So that's the best way to go. So yeah,
Yeah,
people do that. I've done that.
just
So
to speed up the process.
yeah, and I have taken I'll sift at least 2 times, and then the ones that don't get sifted just go on my garden bed. So
Sure.
it's like, yep, that's just how it's gonna be. You made a bad choice. You don't want to spend time. Go ahead, prodigal son. Go ahead. Or prodigal girl. They're hermaphrodites. They have both female and male parts. Takes 2 to multiply. So mate.
So they can't consume eggshells that are whole? Or
Yeah, no, not the big eggshells.
It's even dangerous for them to crawl over the sharp eggshell edges or something?
I think they're smart. No, they're smart. I mean, like
Oh,
if your
they're
whole
smart?
no, I'm saying if your whole bin just has eggshells, yeah, you'll be like irritated and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, they won't. They'll go around stuff. If you accidentally like put a banana peel in there with the sticker, they'll eat the banana, but the sticker will stay in there. You know,
They don't want to stick.
yeah, it's just they're just amazing creatures. Like I said, I can't explain how they know where to go. They can't see, they can't smell, but they're able to mate and eat. And
Are they like an earthworm? Because I've heard if you split an earthworm
Mhm.
still live
Yeah.
without two parts together.
Yep.
Is that the way things are too?
I did a video on that, and that's a myth. If you cut their tail off, they can survive, but if you cut them in half, they won't multiply. They're not like, they say certain lizards, they lose their tail, it grows back, but no, that's a myth, they will die. And another thing I heard, worms have 5 hearts.
Body parts.
5 hearts. So that's a lot of love from a worm. So yeah, always look it up. Like it says, always fact check me. You know, you can always go back and check me out. But they say they have 5 hearts and stuff. And a lot of people use a scientific name of worms, but I'm just basic. You know, it's like red wigglers, blues, or. And there's also another worm that in Iowa I don't recommend, are African night crawlers. They're about this long, pretty worm, purple tint, but they need warm weather, at least 75 all year round. So yeah. So yeah, like it says, if you're interested, I would definitely give you worm casts if you leave your name with God, who's at the front desk. Yeah, Helen. Then I'll in the spring when it gets warm, I'll give you your worm castings to leave them at the Y and you can come get them. And then always leave feedback with me, you know, because I like to share, you know, because that way I can learn as well. I'm on, if you're on Facebook, I have a community. It's called AJ's Green Topics Worm Community. So join that. And I'm the type of person, I don't like when someone asks a question and trolls start to say like just crazy comments. On that, we're adults. My channel and just to be adults, you know. I don't like because people don't know everything. So
Yeah.
my job is to help you, and you help me, and we help each other. So
So
yeah.
I assume you use your castings for you have a vegetable garden?
Yep, vegetable garden, any garden you can use them on.
So I had some castings at one time, and I didn't know, because what I did is I just applied it to the next row of vegetables.
Mhm.
And I didn't know how thick, how,
Mhm.
just sprinkle it on, you know, I didn't know
Mhm.
the consistency of what to have applied, I guess.
Yep. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you, as long as you have it on there, you're fine. Big is more for you. The finer sifting is more for someone that wants to sell, you know. I think because if you sift them, like I says, you can sell them to people. But also, if you want to sift them finer, you can mix it with like some peat moss or something to make your own mixture of seed starting mix. But like I said, there's no correct way to do it, you know. As long as you're applying the castings on, you're fine, you know. And that's the thing with us, we overthink things. It's like, if I'm gonna, start composting, how much nitrogen, carbon, the best way to go, if you start composting, always add more browns compared to nitrogen. You know, just keep it moist, air. You know, if you turn it, aerate it, it'll break down faster. And the thing about worms compared to composting, you just do that all year round. You know, they're constantly moving the soil and eating and stuff.
So if I started out with 250 worms, how
Mhm.
many would I have in a year?
It
I mean,
depends.
is it gonna grow exponentially?
What size container were you thinking about starting it
Oh,
in?
I see.
Yeah, that's the thing. Long as you have
Well,
the
you
room.
can expand
Yeah.
as they grew.
Yeah, like they're kind of like fish. You know, a fish only gets so big too. So if you start doing that, think of fish in an aquarium. They're the same way.
Because they don't really need.
Yeah, like it says, once you start, no, but like
Yeah.
you have 250 in here,
Yeah.
and then once you keep
Yeah,
putting,
I keep-
yeah, so you could have like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 in here. It just depends on the size. As long as you feed them and leave them alone, you'll be just fine. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's easy to take care of. The main thing is just leave them alone. It's hard. We get anxious, you know, and worms don't like to be bothered. It's like, just let me do my thing, you do your thing, just feed me, and we'll be just dandy. So,
What's the spigot for on the bottom?
spigot, this is for like, they call it for like, say the worm tea's in here, you brood it, you could do it that way.
Okay.
But a lot of people, they put too much food in here and there's so much liquid, and they think that's the worm tea, and that's not. They call it leachate, and that means you're overfeeding them. And this kit here, it has holes on the bottom, and there's a worm down there crawling around.
Get it out.
Yep.
You escaped.
Oh,
There's
oh,
some on the side too.
But I have paper down there just to protect them if one gets down there. So every now and then you'll have worms down there, and this is a blue worm. Since he's down there, I'll make a cameo. That's a blue worm.
With the little
Yeah, and the clatilium they call it. It's flatter, so they're different. But hi everybody. But yeah, that's a blue. Yeah, they're tiny, but they're aggressive. They'll eat that food, so don't let the size fool you. So yeah, there'll be worms down there. Just make sure you have some damp paper. But yeah, that's just a spigot to drain out your excess of liquid. If you're running your bin well, you won't have a lot of stuff down there. And like I said, the overfeeding of your watermelons and other fruits that have so much liquid, don't make worm tea out of that. You know, just pour that in your composting bin or something and use it that way.
So do they need light? If you stick them in the basement all winter, do they need light?
No, worms don't like light. Something about how their skin is, they hate the ultraviolet or something, and they burrow. That's why a lot of people just leave the lid off and they'll keep a light on, and worms won't get out because of the light.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, like I said, I have worms that try to escape, and that's because, like I said, the temperature changes. Like I said, if I catch them, I'll just throw them back in. If not, I'll sweep them up and throw them in the garbage. So, like I said, my only pet peeve is when people say they forget about their worms and then they'll die because they don't feed them and neglect them. If you're not, like with any pet, if you're not going to be responsible, don't even take the time to do them. But this kit here is good for like just a basic person who lives in an apartment. There's different kits out there. I have a video that I made about the top 5 worm bins, so there's a variety of worm bins. You can always ask me questions, and you know, that's what I'm here for. Like I said, I don't know everything. My goal is to learn and just try to let us think outside of the box.
AJ, this video will be on YouTube then?
Yes, ma'am. I'll have it uploaded tomorrow.
Okay, but will it say AJ's Green Topics for City Y or?
How do you want to name it? We can name it exactly how you want to name it. I'll do it for you. This is your video.
Okay.
What name would you like? Forest City Y Worm Workshop?
Sure.
Oh, this is.
Forest City Y Worm Workshop.
There you go.
So, and what is your name? No, shout out to Kathy. Thank you.
No, I have
So
to
thank you. Like it says, it's an honor. I don't know. I love people. I usually don't get nervous. You know how it is. And all of a sudden it's like, what's going on, AJ?
Yeah.
But it's just different. But like I said, thank you for coming. It's an honor to be able just to share my knowledge and for you to ask questions, because that's what I like, just to try to help you. And like I said, you're helping me and stuff. And
So your bin, can you get them on Amazon?
yep.
That one there?
This one, you can go on Amazon, but I bought this one directly. It's from the wormbucket.com. Like it says, if you go to my videos, like it says, I have links on the bottom. Like there's all types of information. There's affiliate links. I try not to go through Amazon. I mean, I have links that I have things with, but I'd rather have you go directly to the vendor, so that way if there's problems, you can get your new worms if they're dead and stuff. So Amazon, you don't know how long it's gonna take to get it. You know, the worms could be left out in a hot warehouse and delivered dead. And
Does the worms come in the bucket?
no, these worms, no worms in the bucket.
Bucket.
Yeah, then you got to get the worms separate. But if you get worms, like say you get this kit from me and you buy it, I will give you worms to start your worm bin. So it's just something to look into. So,
Great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I met a lot of great people through YouTube, and without doing that, I never would have met people, and this wouldn't have happened. So, yeah. Any other questions for me?
I know where you live, so I.
Yep. And I see you outside all the time.
How about it?
Yep.
Ask you.
I'll bring your worm castings directly to your house.
In your doorstep.
Yeah.
On your
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah. I will have them there for you. So, I'm thinking like in May after the first frost, because what I noticed like Mother's Day is the week to start because it seems like the frost is completely done. So in May, I can get these to you. So, and I'll have you 2 batches. I'll have you a batch of straight castings, and I'll have another one of mixed, like some peat moss or something mixed, and try it on different sides of your garden, you know, so you can see the before and after, you know. But the worm tea, if you want some, let me know, and in May, I'll brew it up, and I'll give you access to a fresh batch to use within 24 hours. Yeah, and like I said, spray it into a spray bottle and apply it to your plants. So, yeah, and like do before and afters. Like spray one with the worm tea, another plant without it, and like says, if you're on my Facebook community, show before and afters because the facts are what show, you know, because I could tell you a lot of things, and I'm like Thomas in the Bible. I got to see things to believe it at sometimes, and yeah, try it for yourself, you know. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
yep. Thank you. I want to thank you for watching, and there's another video. See you in the next one.